Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. I may go off in this particular show here, but before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as y'all know, the Lakers played the Golden State Warriors yesterday in Game 2. Right. Very exciting game, the only game in the NBA playoffs. And as I was watching that game, I was really impressed with how well the Lakers were playing on the road. They were answering almost everything the Golden State Warriors threw in their direction. And LeBron James in that game really got off to a very, very hot start in the beginning of the game, right? He even hit one three-pointer off the glass like it was just kind of like a Hail Mary shot. And when he hit that shot, I was just like, oh my God, this is this is absolutely impressive, right? He was hitting some really tough shots. And he finished the first half of that game shooting 69.2%, shooting 60% from the three, with 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 0 turnovers, and 21 points. But on the other side of that, while that was going on, Klay Thompson also scored 19 points and he hit 5 3-pointers in the first half. And Klay Thompson was keeping the Golden State Warriors in the game. And they made it a very entertaining game. And at one point, I even posted on our community section on the channel, I'm like, man, the Lakers look really good right now. They're looking like the better team. That's what I said, although I believe I did have the Golden State Warriors winning this series because I had them advancing against the Kings and I had the Lakers advancing against the Memphis Grizzlies. Fantastic. So we get to the second half. It's still a fight, but then ultimately, Golden State blows the game wide open. And they end up winning that game by 30 points. A very, very, very convincing victory at home. So I go to bed. And I wake up. And I start seeing the news start to trickle in from sports, from the media, the NBA media. And then I started noticing AD didn't step up. AD was this, AD was that. And I started to notice a trend. I'm like, wait a minute. It looks like Anthony Davis is going to be the guy, the fall guy for today. He's going to be the guy that takes the brunt of the blame for why the Lakers were not victorious in that game. And one of the shows that did not fail to throw Anthony Davis under the bus was, of course, Undisputed. In today's segment, I believe they started off the show talking about the Lakers game. And when it came time for Skip Bayless to speak, as expected, he started blaming Anthony Davis. So what we want to do is I want to play a little bit of what Skip had to say about AD's performance last night. And then I'll come back and give you guys my thoughts. Take a listen to what Skip Bayless had to say there.
Golden State. Shannon Sharp. This was a golden opportunity at Golden State to just seize them by the throat and put them in a hole out of which I don't think they could climb out of.
I agree.
This is at tip-off, just moments before. News breaking. Kevon Looney is ill. He's got some sickness that's going to restrict him to 20-ish minutes. And to your point, as you just read, he made it 12. I don't know if he had stomach flu or whatever. But Steve Kerr said, I couldn't start him because if you tell me he can only play 20, it's hard to let somebody play 6 or 8 and then sit him for a long time because you think, well, I got the rest of this game and how am I going to dole it out?
Right.
So he said, I'll pick my spots and bring him off the bench. Well, it just didn't really matter what he did, except you just made the case. He had one more rebound in 12 minutes than Anthony Davis had in 33 minutes. He had 3, Kevon Looney did, offensive rebounds, and AD got 1 offensive rebound. Okay, so Mr. Sharp, help me out here. This game is begging to be won and taken over by two people, both Anthony Davis and LeBron James.
Yes.
And I'll start with AD because the bulk of the blame obviously is going to fall on his shoulders because he indicts himself every other game by playing as big as he played in game one. And we sit back and say, hey, that's about as good as there is in this league. That's unstoppable.
You remember the segment we did yesterday?
I think we did. Yes. Okay. And we ride the roller coaster because it almost seems like every other game.
Yeah.
Okay, I just couldn't, and I told you yesterday, surely we're deep enough into the playoffs. Surely this opponent is imposing enough, is scary enough that he'll come out with the same effort in game two that he had in game one because, again, golden opportunity, especially when Kevon Looney cannot, start the basketball game.
As y'all know, JJ Redick is a very outspoken guy in sports media. And about a day or two ago, on Wednesday, he went on ESPN First Take, and he really went off about the report that came out surrounding Dillon Brooks and the language that was used around it, talking about the Grizzlies do not want him back under any circumstances. And he went off on the reporter or the NBA insider that put that out, and he said, this is his issue with sports media today. It's all narrative driven. And that's what I want to focus on today. I'm pretty damn upset about the way things are unfolding today. And I think it's quite ironic that I find myself here, Charles, defending Anthony Davis to the public, a person that I've been very critical of in the past. But I got to do it. You know, it's becoming nauseating at this point. It really is. The thing about the Lakers and the media in general, as it pertains to the Lakers are the only team I know in basketball that whenever they win a game, there's a narrative attached. Whenever they lose a game, there must be a narrative attached, and there must always be a scapegoat, no matter what. Now, what's annoying to me is that they're talking about Anthony Davis, who has been the Lakers' best player these playoffs. This is not even a question. AD has been the Lakers' best player these playoffs. He's been their best two-way player. I think Anthony Davis now has about 30-plus blocks in the playoffs. It's absurd. It is absolutely absurd, the production he's given these guys on both sides of the floor. The Lakers have turned into arguably the best defensive team in the playoffs. And AD has been the anchor of that defense. The other night when Anthony Davis had a 30-20 game, everybody was up there, or at least the people that were doing it, were up there twerking it up for Anthony Davis, telling you how great he is. Oh, he's AD. If AD plays like this, and AD blah, 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 blah. If AD plays like that, blah, 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 blah. That's what they were doing. Forgetting that this is NBA basketball. We are in the playoffs. This is not Rucker Park or NBA 2K. In the playoffs, teams can key in on other teams, exploit their weaknesses, and throw in-game adjustments that forces the opponent to make an adjustment to the adjustment the team made. If you watch the game with your eyeballs instead of your emotions, you would understand, and this is why it's important to watch the game, that the Golden State Warriors came out with a game plan. They understood that, listen, Anthony Davis is the primary reason we lost game one. There's no real debate over this. He's the primary reason. Although it was a close game at the end, and Jordan Poole had that three to tie the game, AD was the primary reason that the Lakers won that game. With those 30 points and those 20 rebounds, or whatever, 23 rebounds, or whatever the hell he had in that game. So the Golden State Warriors said to themselves, they said, you know what? We got to make an adjustment. So what did they do? They knew that Kevon Looney did not have the quickness to keep up with AD. He didn't have the size to really bother him and stop him from wreaking havoc in the paint. So what the Golden State Warriors did was something quite smart. But it's what happens in basketball in the playoffs. They decided, hey, you know what? We're going to put Draymond Green at the 5, force him to guard AD, then put John Michael Green at the 4. So they take off Kevon Looney, who had some, I think, some illness, and they now put 4 shooters on the floor, 3-point shooters, and 1 guy playing center field, which was Draymond Green. And what does that do when you do something like that? Well, what it does now is that now it forces AD to play on the perimeter to guard John Michael Green. And also, Draymond Green can now roam, and he's also a center that could also play make. So now it creates more spacing on the floor, and it allowed somebody to hit open shots. And who are those somebodies? Klay Thompson and John Michael Green. John Michael Green finished that game scoring, what did he have? 15 points, hitting 3 3-pointers, shooting 50% from the 3. And the guy that they decided to double all game long was Stephen Curry. Now, let me show you why these people are a bunch of clowns. Stephen Curry, I believe, in game 1 average, he took more shots than he did in game 2. Game 2, Stephen Curry only took 12 shots. So Anthony Davis yesterday took what? 11 shots. So you're telling me that Stephen Curry, who took 1 more shot than 80, then Stephen Curry is also a bum too, right? He's also a bum too, right? Because he only attempted 12 shots. The question you have to ask yourself is, why did Stephen Curry attempt only 12 shots? The reason was because the Lakers were doubling him all game long. So what did he do? He became a facilitator, and he beat you with the pass. He adjusted to what the defense was doing. If you watch that game, you could clearly see that AD was not within the flow of the offense. LeBron was. It was becoming upon the Lakers, meaning the coaching and their point guards, to ensure Anthony Davis was within the flow. They did not do that. Has nothing to do with AD being trash. And the irony is, if the Lakers go on to win game 3 and AD plays well, these same people will be telling you, oh man, AD, he the ball. Y'all are clowns. Straight up and down, y'all are clowns. Make up your mind. Is Anthony Davis a good player or not? These are the playoffs. They make adjustments. Go look at the Clippers' first game when Kawhi scored 38. They gave him single coverage all game long. The next game, they doubled him. He had 31 points. He took less shots. So Kawhi Leonard is garbage? Y'all are crazy with this. It's like people can no longer reason anymore. People are reasoning with their emotions. It's crazy to me. These are my thoughts.